What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Join Dota League Season 5. We're in the Division 1-2 games. Power Rangers going up against Vega Squadron in a best-of-3. These two teams run into each other quite a bit, so expect there to be quite a bit of metagaming picks and stuff like that. I'm Mikelorus, going to be one of your casters for today. Got Danelie casts here, as well as Petty on stats. Petty, say hello whenever the screen goes away. But Danelie, how are you doing today?
Pretty good tonight. It's a really cool night actually. So I'm actually ready to get excited just to warm up from watching some of the European Dota 2 action. I don't really get to cast too many European games, so it's an absolute pleasure for me to really be here.
Time zones are the worst.
Oh yeah, it's actually a pretty good time for me at the moment. It's 10 p.m. so we should finish up at about 2 if it's going to be a full best-of-3 series, which I hope it is. I really love those close games where both teams have a chance to really win the game. So let's hope that Power Rangers and Vega Squadron give each other a run for their money, because I'm ready for some Dota.
Yeah, you always have the chance of just having a disappointing quick 2-0 done in 2 hours.
Don't say
just
that.
like that. But we're not going to mention that. That's not going to happen today because, well, both these two teams, I mean, Vega Squadron, they're mostly on the up and up. They have Mag standing in for them, so that's some pretty heavy-hitting stuff. Screen is not here, which is kind of disappointing to me, and I'm not sure if we're going to see that Tusk. But Power Rangers also have a couple of stand-ins as well, so I think both teams more or less working with even footing as far as that is concerned. And then it's going to come down to the draft, where Sniper Troll already banned, Zeus getting a rather early ban out.
Yeah, we'll have to see how these teams synergize with their stand-ins as well. We do see a lot of problems where teams will pick up stand-ins because obviously team players are not available, and if they can work around some synergy with the stand-ins, they really have the upper hand compared to a team that doesn't really have too much synergy with the stand-in. So we'll see how both teams function with the stand-ins. But pretty standard bans aside from our Queen of Pain and our Zeus. Troll and Sniper, pretty standard stuff there. We're probably just going to see some support picks coming up from both teams. No one really wants to reveal any big cards at the moment. It's still the beginning of the series. Getting the first win out of a best-of-3 series, it's the best feeling. It gives you a sense of relief that the second game you don't have as much pressure to win it, just because you've got that second chance if you do screw up during the second game.
Right, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Vengeful Spirit right now for Vega Squadron. It will effectively ban that out from Power Rangers, and then they could pick up Bat Rider themselves. So going safe is probably the way to go, and without Screen, I'm probably inclined to say that they're not going to go off the walls aggressive, because he's probably the one pushing for that. I have no idea. I'm just saying that whenever I see him, he's always going to be that one playing it, and it is going to be the Vengeful Spirit first.
Yeah,
Vega.
I'm actually hoping to see a Night Stalker. I've seen a lot of the European teams really utilizing that aggressive position for Night Stalker. It's very tanky, has got a lot of ganking potential just as is. So I hope we do see him, but wow, Power Rangers already off the block. They're going to go with the Tiny Wisp. Very strong combo. They're already going to have a lot of mobility just with these two heroes. They're constant global aggression from Power Rangers, whereas Vega, they get the Venge and your Bat Rider.
So yeah, I think we figured out this stage in Dota. It's more or less going to be pretty much this, with the exception of IO Tiny, which is a little bit more towards the team as far as flavor is concerned. Some teams run it, some teams don't. But Power Rangers, they have, really solid IO play, so you can't really blame them for trying to go for this strategy. I was just about to say that Night Stalker for Vega wouldn't be the best up against this combination, just because Tiny's Avalanche Toss combo is a brick wall that the Night Stalker just can't get through. But it seems like Vega, they're scared of it as well, and they're going to ban it out.
Well, it actually wouldn't have been too bad for Power Rangers though, because with the Tiny Wisp, these two heroes, they're very aggressive. You don't play passive with your Tiny Wisp. You always want to gank with them. So having an aggressive hero like a Night Stalker in that 4, I don't really think he'll be a 5th position Night Stalker though. It'd have to be position 3. They need to have a position 5 to balance out this Wisp, because that Wisp definitely needs farm as a support. He can't really walk around with brown boots and nothing. So Power Rangers, they're probably just going to go for a Lion pickup maybe as their support, maybe even a Witch Doctor as well. I think Witch Doctor's a little too greedy. I would lean towards the Lion. Oh, he's banned out? No, he's not banned.
What? Witch Doctor?
Oh, Witch Doctor, sorry. I thought you meant Lion. Oh,
No.
sorry. We lost our synergy, Mike. I'm sorry.
All supports look the same anyway. It's fine.
No, the same color.
That's racist or something. I don't think that's racist.
Oh, wow.
It's something like that. But yeah,
Wow,
Lion
Mike.
would look awfully good right now. Really, IO Tiny, if Power Rangers don't ban out Disruptor, then I'm sure Vega Squadron would have that in consideration as well. In fact, Disruptor should be at a premium for both of these two teams. Great versus the IO Tiny combo. You send one of them back, whoever you think you can deal with the easiest. And for Power Rangers, getting rid of that Batrider initiation or trying to minimize the Batrider initiation with that glimpse, with that kinetic field is what you want to be doing. So it's not going to be that ban out for Vega just yet, as they want to pick it up probably a little bit more than Power Rangers, but it is going to be that Lion and Witch Doctor. Man, we are on the ball today.
I know, right? But wow, this Storm Spirit pickup for Power Rangers, they really want to play it aggressive this game. So I wonder how Vega's actually going to counter out, well, not really counter out, but just play against these heroes that Power Rangers have drafted for the moment. But I think Power Rangers, though, they're kind of drafting themselves towards a wall because they're banning out supports as well when they need one too. Unless they have a niche support in mind, they could always go back towards some of the more traditional supports, or you could say last patch supports, like maybe Ogre Magi and Jakiro, two supports that don't really need too much farm, but they work very well with just a couple of levels. I like the Skyroth Mage pickup from Vega Squadron though. They've got some sort of burst with this support, and the silence is going to be great against that Storm Spirit.
And it's also pretty good versus the Tiny as well. If you catch him on the relocation in, jam that silence button, and then no avalanche toss means that for the first half of the game, Tiny's not really going to be doing that much once he arrives through that relocate. Yeah, as you said, actually, Ogre Magi right now for Power Rangers, with Bloodlust on Tiny and Overcharge, yeah, you're going to be killing some people pretty darn quickly, especially if Vega Squadron keep going as soft as they are right now. Like, all three of these heroes will be 100 to 0'd by a Tiny combo. If you add any sort of extra damage on top of that, you're going to be looking to take this game for your Power Rangers. They have a Storm Spirit who has, some answers on the other end, but really not the most. So Vega Squadron, they need some heavy hitters. They actually need someone who can contest this Tiny and contest the Storm Spirit in a damage race, because as nice as it is to grab your supports, these just aren't going to cut it.
Yeah, I really would like Vega Squadron to have a frontliner as well, just to really soak up the damage, just be there to really disrupt that Tiny in the front lines. So it's really hard to say what they could have though. Centaur, in all honesty, would have been nice for Vega Squadron. They could probably... What's some tanky mid heroes, or maybe even a safe lane hero? Maybe you can go for a safe lane Bristleback? Although Bristleback probably not the best hero to go up against a Tiny. You can still pretty much 100 to 0 Bristleback as well if you're particularly farmed. Wow, this Lena pickup from Power Rangers. Look at the burst damage from their draft. They got the Laguna Blade, they've got the Storm Zip in, Avalanche Toss combo from your Tiny, Whispers with the Tiny, so there's pretty much an all-in-one combo really, but Vega Squadron, they're basically going to go for a Juggernaut as their hard carry. Pretty solid hero, I'd say, but they're really going to have to get a very good head start during the early game.
Yeah, a very good one. Power Rangers have so many tools at dealing with this Juggernaut. Toss does go through that, and of course Tiny's damage will go through it as well. If your Juggernaut is going for this, I'm going to mass up attack speed with Mask of Madness, get some damage items, Sanjin Yasha, stuff like that, and just try to work everyone down. It's just not going to work up against the Tiny because he has craggy exterior. So Tiny, I think, a little bit of a natural counter versus the Juggernaut, not a hard counter by any means. But for the rest of Power Rangers, they even have the Laguna Blade to get themselves into that Juggernaut through the spin and through the Mask of Madness as well. That's going to hurt. So they have one of their core heroes, and as nice as Juggernaut is, he just doesn't fare well up against what Power Rangers are bringing to the table. They need to get this Juggernaut off to a roaring start, or have the Vengeful Spirit Skyrath Mage rotate a lot very early on and try to shut down all of the heroes of Power Rangers, actually all of them.
Yeah, I'm actually recalling a secondary build that Juggernauts used to build before the Mask of Madness, pretty much fame and glory, really. It was where Juggernauts would actually build Blink Daggers, just to get into the fights and get into range for that Omni Slash. So we might see a Blink Dagger Aghanim Scepter Juggernaut this game, just so that he can still stay relevant, he can still damage the Tiny even with this craggy exterior, and they also have some sort of burst to really burst down some of the heroes in these team fights. Because Power Rangers, they too have some squishy heroes, and Vega can definitely burst them down as well. It's just a matter of can they get through that brick wall that's Tiny. Because Tiny he's the carry, he's a frontliner, he's super tanky, he's going to be in the front lines. There's always going to be the toss avalanche combo that's going to be a constant threat. So I feel like Vega, they need to be very mobile and to jump into the middle of the fight, bypass the Tiny, go for Storm, go for Lena, maybe even pick up that Legion Commander, which was the last pick for Power Rangers. I kind of feel like the Legion, I guess it synergizes well with the Wisp, but it kind of feels a little awkward with the draft.
Yeah, I mean, it is a tanky hero. Really, it's fine because, again, it's another tool to deal with this Juggernaut, right? You just get right up into his face and then man fight him, and you're usually going to come out decently well in that exchange. It's going to force Lina to a support role, which I'm pretty sure is going to happen anyway. Lanes on Power Rangers, though, definitely going to be the most easily abusable thing for Vega Squadron, because Legion Commander offlane, IO tiny mid, Storm safe with a single Lina support. These lanes just aren't really strong from Power Rangers, especially when you consider Vega, who are working with Skywrath Mage Vengeful Spirit, one of, if not the most dangerous duo support combos, and a Juggernaut to boot, who can just spin down anyone in the early stages and get those kills. So Power Rangers, I was liking their drafts, but this Legion Commander, with her weakness in lane, or with her lack of strength in lane, let's say, is really going to be a problem for them, because their lanes weren't really great to begin with, and Vega's are.
Yeah. Keep in mind, though, if they can actually get farm on this Legion Commander, they can use the press to attack to actually purge off the Batrider lasso. So anyone on Power Ranger that gets lassoed, if the Legion Commander's nearby with a blink, there's always going to be the constant threat of that purge. So it's not too bad for Power Rangers, but can they survive that laning phase? Vega Squadron, they pick up a mag to finalize their draft. Decent synergy, I suppose, but they really need a good head start to go up against Power Rangers, and they do have the draft for the laning phase to really dominate Power Rangers, but can they execute? That's always going to be a problem. We can always say that one team has the best draft in the entire world, and all of a sudden laning phase just completely tips in the other team's favor.
Yeah, that happens a lot. Maybe it's because we're bad at reading these things, but with the mag pick, Vega Squadron, they're going all in on their Juggernaut as far as damage is concerned. Like, if you put that if you put that amplification on the Juggernaut, get the cleave. First of all, you could get a lot more value out of stacking Ancients, whereas before they could not. It'll be limited value at best. But with that in power, Juggernaut is just going to be able to go ham. Still has to worry about that craggy exterior. Still has to worry about getting initiated upon. And, well, they are going to put a lot of faith into this Juggernaut, Vega, for the late stage of the game. But it's really down to the Vega supports to make things happen. But before we get into any of that, let's see who's going to be playing what. On the Power Rangers side, we got Cheshire Cat. He's going to be handling the Legion Commander, going down towards the bottom lane. Jada might be joining him as the IO. J4 is going to be playing the Lina with Ichira on the Storm Spirit. And up towards top, it's Tiny.
Alright, so playing on the side of Vega Squadron, going towards the Rune, we have Seema the Slayer on our Skywrath Mage. We have Quay on our Vengeful Spirit. Pasha going to be handling our Juggernaut. No one is going to be playing on the Magnus. And lastly, we've got our Batrider, going to be played by Mag, going towards the Radiant Jungle.
If you're going to have someone stand in, Mag on his Batrider is probably the person that you want to be standing in, because this guy, I mean, Cheshire Cat's Batrider is also very, very impressive, but this is like, I always see Mag on this Batrider, and he always just does fantastically for the team. So, especially on the safe lane, when you will tend to have a little bit more farm, like faster Blink Dagger, easier levels here, and also, to a certain extent, easier access to your jungle. You get some triple pulling going, or triple stacking going, rather, in this little triangle of creeps. So, Mag on the safe lane, assuming he's not up against an offensive tri-lane of Power Rangers, should be having a decent time, but he's going to walk right into an LSA. That Bounty Rune probably isn't worth it, although with the Firefly, he'll get right up to the high ground. Cheshire Cat, as a Legion Commander, can't really do that much in those situations, nor can Dichira's Storm Spirit.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate there for Power Rangers, but they managed to secure the room. They've sent Mag back with half HP, so that's pretty much going to force him to chew on his tangos. So later on, as this one-on-one matchup goes, Cheshire Cat, he's going to come on top because he's got the press the attack to really regen his HP. So we'll see how it goes, though. Mag might overcome Cheshire Cat all of a sudden, we never know. But you thought it was actually going to be a mid-wisp Tiny, well, it's going to be Ditra on the Storm Spirit mid.
Oh, and
little sad, but actually
Tiny.
top.
He needs the support right now because the spin has already been used. This is an offensive tri-lane that Power Rangers were clearly caught by surprise. And Bashu, or Seaman Slayer rather, with the help of his other teammates, is going to draw first blood on the enemy Tiny. This is the strategy that you have to go for if you are in fact going to be, just trying to get up ahead in the early stage of the game. If you go for an offensive tri-lane, if you know the enemies are going to have this kind of weak defensive tri-lane, you're going to be golden. As long as Juggernaut has mana, Vega can get kills.
Yeah, the stats though for the Tiny Wisp Storm Spirit combo, you think could be a little bit more successful than it actually is, but only having a roughly, 55%-ish win rate, it's not amazing. So we'll see if PR can actually bump this win rate up, or if it's going to unfortunately fall on top of its feet. Still very early in the laning phase, but the first blood really going to help Vega Squadron in that top lane. Seema, they're going to come in. He's thinking about throwing a slow, but he's going to throw a couple of animation cancels to kind of scare Power Rangers at this point. But Jodam and JR, they're doing what they can to just harass Seema at this point to really lower him down, make him feel a little bit too scared and trying to go for any sort of engagement. He is pretty low though, just because of the right clicks coming out from JR and the Lina.
Yeah, the Skywrath Mage really isn't a great hero for trading hits early on. He's good at harassing, for sure, especially once he gets that level 2, gets those bolts online, but trading hits with 0 base armor, 46 base damage, Lena's base armor and damage isn't really anything to write home about, but it's still a lot better than that of the Skywrath Mage. But Seaman Slayer is perfectly okay with just using his tangos in order to buy his allies a little bit more space, because they're keeping this Tiny more or less off the lane. And if you could do that, yeah, the levels are still going to be pretty threatening from this hero. Once he gets 240 mana, the magic mark for the Tiny, your supports have to watch themselves. But until that happens, he really doesn't do that much except for a single stun, and it's only level 1 stun at that you can dodge with Blade Fury.
Yeah, and not just that though, when he's not being able to run a bottle, he's got very limited mana to work with, and Jodam, he's going to have to keep this Lina power charge because obviously her damage output is far surpassed the Tiny at this point. You don't really want to waste your combo as your Tiny, you want to save it just for that perfect moment to really secure the kill, because if you don't get it with that, you're going to have very low mana for a very low time, and that's where Jodam on the Wisp, he has to consider who's actually going to be better off with the mana. Is it going to be the Tiny, or is it better with J4 on that Lina? So, a couple of mind games, I suppose. A couple of cute things to take into consideration, but well, we're only making some ideas up for the moment. Pretty passive coming out from both teams so far. We might see an engagement in the middle lane though. Seema sitting on the high ground, waiting for Dityara to come back. Illusion rune, so no aggressive rune there for our Storm Spirit.
And he might get lured into his false insecurity if these illusions don't quite catch vision of the Skywrath Mage. It's going to be a little close because illusions go up, Skywrath Mage goes down. Dityara now in a little bit of trouble. No silence just yet, but it's not really needed. They're going to steer him into the tower. One more shockwave. No one is going to draw that kill. At the same time, though, Juggernaut dies up towards top lane. Where the hell did he die? Okay, yeah, you're going to die if you go all the way out here when your Skywrath Mage is going to leave. So Power Rangers, whether intentionally or not, find the perfect timing to go for this Juggernaut kill when it's just Juggernaut Vengeful Spirit. And those two heroes, they're pretty dangerous together, but it's certainly no offensive tri-lane.
Yeah, it looks for the moment. I think he just got a little bit overconfident because when you have that Juggernaut, you have the Blade Free, and you feel a little bit too confident because of the spin. But Cheshire Cat, though, getting the kill onto Mag on the Batrider. A little surprising, but well, unfortunately for Mag, he's going to head back to the fountain, really, sit there for about 10 seconds, think what he's going to do with his life, and he'll come back, hopefully with a fresh mindset and hoping to get some revenge.
He walked right back into it. The balls aren't going to kill him off, or are they? Is the Wisp fast enough to keep up? No, a toss will kill, though. Flying Lina incoming. J4 now going to arm the LSA. Doesn't have enough mana for a Dragon Slave, but they have enough right-click damage to get this kill regardless. They'll trade the Lina for the kill, maybe even Jodam, actually, so I'm not sure if this is working out too great for them. Jodam just stuck in some trees. Do they not see him? Well, I don't know what happened there, but the Arcane Bolt is flying. That'll kill off one. Shockwave not quite going to kill off the second. As no one closes in, he has boots, as does Tiny. Avalanche to slow him down. One more bolt. I don't think that's lethal, but with a shockwave it will be. J4 can arm another LSA back from the dead, this time with Dragon Slave mana, but that won't be enough to kill off no one. It's 5-4, and suddenly, after a very passive start, kills frickin' everywhere. Batrider dying to the Legion Commander. That's not a good thing, as Legion Commander is leading the CS board, and she's actually getting killed. Up towards top, they're going to go in again for the Lina. A little bit too close, got tagged by a magic missile. Suddenly, it's an offensive quad lane from Vega, and they're going to go deep for more. Spin onto the Juggernaut, gets tossed away onto Seema, but here comes the Mag. Skewer Shockwave going to get one. Now they're going to go onto the Tiny. He's completely surrounded with an RP. He's not going anywhere. No one, I saw that attempt for a last hit. That was pretty dirty, but it's going to be Seema to grab that ultimately, as it's a bloodbath up on the top lane.
My goodness, no one. He literally came to the rescue up in that top lane. He did everything. He got essentially 3 kills in that top lane, plus the 1 assist as well. So this Mag really paying off for Vega. They really needed those kills. They really needed to shut down Power Rangers, and it looked like Power Rangers were going to pretty much stay even with Vega for a moment there, but those kills definitely helping that aggressive tri-lane. So I think Power Rangers, they're going to have to try and find farm elsewhere on this Tiny Wisp, or they're going to rotate in Dityara on the Storm Spirit to try and grab their own kills. This is a regeneration on the Storm Spirit as well, so he can go ham with his mana pool so long as he doesn't get hit with the regen popped.
And but usually when you're going to go for these ganks, when it's a 1v1 mid matchup, you get a little bit of golden experience, but the enemy mid laner, because they don't have anyone to worry about in lane, is going to be relatively even. Just not the case, man. Level 6 Storm Spirit right now compared to a freaking level 8 Mag. All those kills that no one took, and 1 assist to boot as well. I mean, the level difference isn't going to make a huge difference in lane, but Mag getting ahead means that the Juggernaut can also get ahead, because we already see that in power starting to come out. And if Pashibashu gets that, and if they start stacking up summations, despite the fact that Juggernaut is only level 4, the Juggernaut will be able to farm himself very, very quickly into an advantageous position. They're going to go for bottom lane. Cheshire Cat, Lasso not been used yet, and they will be used to drag Cheshire Cat a little bit further back away from his tower. But with the IO coming in with that bottle, suddenly Legion Commander's on the attack. They'll go straight for Seema. With the Dragon Slave duel, they will win the duel as well. And there was also someone else here. Where's Mag? He's deep into the trees. Odds are going to miss, and they can't go for that one. Dichira burned a lot of his mana pool to try to get to that Bat Rider, but are they actually going to go for more? Yeah, you probably shouldn't go for more. That's a little bit too much, but first active damage is up on Cheshire Cat, and with that kill, he's actually not too far away from his Blink Dagger if he wants to go for that.
Yeah, Mag, they're going to be very careful. I think he's being a little bit greedy, just hanging around. But he probably doesn't even know this. Actually, never mind. He should have vision of all these heroes. He has to be very careful. Should not get caught. How close is he to his Blink Dagger, actually? Still a fair bit away. 500 gold, so that's not going to come anytime soon. But Tiny in that top lane, getting decimated yet again. So he's going to be a little pile of stones for the next 12 seconds. He's only level 4. So this Tiny on Power Rangers really struggling. They did go for a couple of kills in a tower down bottom, but actually it was essentially just 1 kill. So I feel like Power Rangers, it wasn't really worth it. They got the tower though, but they lose their hard carry yet again.
Yeah, this is going to place more pressure on the Storm Spirit and that Legion Commander to perform, because as bad as the Tiny is doing, Cheshire Cat is doing well. He's very close to that Blink Dagger now, and Legion Commander, if you get her a Blink Dagger, if you get some early kill participations, you're golden to just steamroll the late game with upwards of 100 extra damage from your from the ultimate damage, and not to mention all the farm that she has on top of it. So Tiny, though he's not having a great time, how can he recover? There are no stacks at all, actually, for Power Rangers. No stacks at all in this game, it seems. So it seems like that's not going to be a great way for the Tiny to recover. This might be a game where Tiny, unless he gets a lot of cover from his allies, is going to be forced to go for a little bit more of a utility ganker build. Maybe a Blink Dagger for him instead of that Aghanim Scepter super late game position.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the great thing about Tiny. He's not limited to that hard carry position. He can go for the utility route if he really wants to. So, like you mentioned, he can go for that, but we'll have to see what happens for the moment, because if you look at Power Rangers, they've got 4 heroes that can create space from. I missed out on the kill on the Lena in the mid lane. Did you actually catch that?
I caught her dying. She got RP'd after the fresh Blink Dagger from no one, and I'm pretty sure there's no one on Power Rangers who can withstand that. Exception being Storm Spirit, who just might not be there. But down towards bottom lane, Juggernaut is also going to get jumped with the Blink Dagger. Unfortunately for Cheshire Cat, it's not going to be quite in time to get dual damage, but it's still a kill.
Yeah, kill's a kill. You still need it, especially when you're as far behind as Power Rangers. Actually, let's see how far behind they really are.
That was absolutely perfect. No one is playing out of his mind right now. 602 on the mag. He blinked, skewered the Storm Spirit into the silence from the Scarith Mage. And as a Storm, you don't have any time to react to that.
Yeah, wow. No one on this mag. He's out of control. If you take a look at hero levels, he is the highest hero in terms of levels, followed by Cheshire Cat on the Legion Commander. Is actually closing in pretty closely to that level 10, but Mag is dominating the game, and this is what Vega Squadron need. They need that one hero to help provide that momentum so that they, as a team, can start steamrolling down these lanes for Power Rangers. Because Power Rangers, they do have some decent counter push and decent counter team fight. If the fight's actually going their way, then that's going to be bad news for Vega. The Tiny, though, he's still farming as quickly as he can. I think he's going to go for drums, just to have that little bit of extra HP, movement speed as well, just to give him the extra bit of utility as well. And then from there on, we can figure out whether he's going to go for that Ags or the Blink Dagger. It's very, very difficult to say. He's in a rough spot, but he's doing the best he can. Bashi, though, down the bottom lane. Omnislash is ready, but it's going to be difficult to kill Dityara on that Storm Spirit. He's too mobile, and he can actually just zip away from the Omnislash if he really wants to. But Quay going to come in. He's probably not going to even bother throwing the stun. It's a Storm Spirit, for goodness sake. You're not really going to catch him with a projectile stun.
Yeah, and he doesn't know that he was spotted. He thinks that he's still hidden, but he's actually not. So They need really Seema the Slayer to get in there with that instant silence. That's what they used to kill him off the last time, and that's what they need to use to kill him off the next time. But here comes a smoked up Legion Commander. Blink forward for the duel. Spin is there, however, so reduced damage from magical sources. Quake, though, is going to be hit with most of the magic sources, and he's going to be going down. Vengeful Spirit down, and now they're going to chase forward for the Juggernaut. Again, it's not necessarily dual damage, but it's almost just as good. Seeing the Slayer is going to land a Mystic Flare on Ditchira. Not quite going to get the kill, however, as the damage is there from Legion and Lina both. Ditchira going to stumble himself back to the base, and that's going to be a little bit of kill participation for the tiny Cheshire Cat. Still not getting any damage, which still sucks, but he's 3-0 too. And Vega, they just lost 3 heroes, the Juggernaut especially, who they really can't afford to be losing in this game.
Yeah, in the mid lane though, we're going to have a smoke. So no one and Bag. Again, they're going to try and go for a kill this time. Blink is available on the Batrider, so they're going to go right onto our poor Tiny. So he's going to be pulled into his demise. But is there going to be follow-up though? Everyone's just kind of backing around. They don't really want to jump in because Ditchira came in from the sidelines. Actually, Blink forward. There was the RP. There's a skewer back as well. Where's the follow-up damage though? They can't really kill him off unless they have someone coming in. Jot him. He's going to be healed up by Cheshire Cat. There's the duel. That's going to be damage going into the pockets of Cheshire Cat. And well, that's going to be the Tiny surviving for the whole duration of that engagement, and it's basically 1-on-1 so far. There's a swap there again onto the Tiny. Will he survive? Very hard life for our little rocky man here. And actually there is going to be Seema the Slayer. There's just a slow, then the tether is going to get our poor little Wisp out of danger. But my goodness, I'm surprised that the Tiny survived through everything. If it wasn't for the overcharge as well as the heals from the Wisp, I'm pretty sure he would have been completely decimated.
Yeah, but outside of like the 2 heroes that actually made the jump in, no one and Mag, there really wasn't much damage output coming out from the Vega side, whereas normally there really should be. If you get the lasso off on someone like that, you should just get the kill. Quake is going to get jumped by relocates. Storm Spirit is the one to be joined Jotum, and that will chase down for the Venge. Mag is here, but they can't get the kill in 5 seconds. They need to break this tether so that maybe they can get one afterwards, but I don't think it's going to happen either. No, that will actually. Ditchira gets left behind because I think he balled out of it. Now he's completely out of mana. Has a little bit more mana to get a little bit to the north, and J4 is here as well. LSA, Laguna Blade on Pashu. They're going to turn things around. Healing ward value, maybe. It's going to be close, but with Cheshire Cat also arriving, they'll kill off the Juggernaut. Power Rangers, they're bringing things together and in a big way. I thought that was a big mistake leaving Ditchira there, but with 2 heroes coming in, they lured 2 additional heroes to Vega into their deaths, and once again, it's the Juggernaut to fall, but even more crucially, they kill off the Mag. Who actually got the last hit on that? It was the Storm Spirit. Oh my god, that's a lot of cash for Ditchira.
Massive redemption kills. They really needed it, and all of a sudden their team has suddenly become relevant. If we take a look at the graphs really quickly, we're sitting at a 2.5k EXP lead for Power Rangers. Gold-wise, they're sitting at about almost 2k, so they have recovered. They are leading. Can they maintain the lead? That's pretty much all they have to do. Their late game is so much better than Vega Squadron if you take a look at both to really go for comparison. Whereas Power Rangers, bring it late. They've got heroes that really scale with items, really scale with levels. So can Vega come up with their own redemption kills? They're trying to go for one down bottom, but they're not going to find anybody because Cheshire Cat, he's already retreated behind the tower.
I think Vega they just had to group up and actually take a full 5-on-5 team fight. Like that team fight in the mid lane, it was a 2v3 and then like a 3v1 off to the side. And that's nice sometimes, but really not with Vega. They need to have Batrider initiate, and then they have to have a little bit of patience on no one so that he can actually get that RP so that the Juggernaut can provide that damage. But or a Mystic Flare to get that kill with the lasso. But if they're all scattered, if they can't actually get their combos to land, then these Blink Daggers on the Bat and the Mag are going to be completely irrelevant. So now they're going to group up as 4 in the mid lane, and this is definitely a lot better as far as their kill potential is concerned. The only problem is that there's no real targets over in mid.
Yeah, everyone's actually hiding behind the tower for the moment. If we take a look at, have you taken a look at net worth yet?
Oh man, I'm staring at net worth all the time. It's Mag on top, not surprisingly, but then it's just Power Rangers.
Yeah, it's very sad if you take into consideration how Vega, they had an amazing start. In particular, wonderful mentions to No One. He did a lot of the heavy lifting, especially during the early game, and actually Blink forward. There's the lasso onto our Tiny. There comes a follow-up from Vegas one. Never mind. Relocate out. Tiny's out. They're going to probably sacrifice the Wisp, or if there's no creeps nearby, then, well, Wisp is going to give himself away. Actually, they're just going to back out. They're just going to leave the Wisp.
A little bit too close to the tier 1 tower, or tier 2 rather, of Power Rangers. Vega, without Pashibashu's burst damage from Omni Slash, will have only gotten a very slow kill. Mystic Flare after a magic missile is decent, but it's definitely no lasso flare, as especially with that Wisp, if you're not going for him, he's probably going to get away. Demon Slayer's going to get jumped by Cheshire Cat. There's an RP, though, onto Cheshire Cat with the Omni Slash as well. It's a little bit too late as the duel's already been won. Cheshire Cat might get a little bit of distance now. Pashu only has a level 2 spin, and Cheshire Cat's on the run with those phase boots. They're going to chase forward for no one with the Storm. Ditchira with help of Cheshire Cat's going to grab that kill as well. Here comes Quake, but he can't really do that much against these two heavy hitters. It's a double for Cheshire Cat. Finally gets his stack of damage as well. And despite a great RP from Mag, once again, Vega fall into a pitfall where they just don't have enough damage, even with that Omni Slash.
Yeah, absolutely. Vega, they've fallen behind to the point where they just don't have enough damage anymore. They've got a decent lineup for it, but I feel like, unfortunately, they've got so much utility, they just don't have the damage to really counterbalance this sort of initiation. So Omni Slash, it's okay. Unfortunately, Pashu's not hitting as hard as he would like to. At this point, he'd probably want his Yasha by now, or whatever he's really going to go for. I'm probably going to go for a Yasha. I don't know, that's my guess for this game. What do you think would actually be the first item pickup for Juggernaut? His main big item?
Man, I mean, he does get the amplification from the Empower, so getting agility seems to be the best thing. And I think if you just guess Sanjin Yasha, it doesn't even matter on who nowadays in Dota, you're probably going to be correct. That and Eye of Scotty should be his eventual item build. But they actually might need him to get a little bit more participation early on. It is going to be that Yasha, which is fine. It's boring, but hey, that's what it is. I don't know. I mean, maybe something a little bit more aggressive in the early stages. Yasha just does it all, though.
Wow, did you see the stats there for Cheshire Cat's Blade Mail? Very quick Blade Mail, but think about it. He's been on an absolute roll. He has not died for the entire duration of the game. He's got 6 kills. He's got 3 assists, so he's participated a lot in the fights, and he definitely deserves where he is at for the moment. I think he's going to go for a Yasha a Sange, maybe into a Halberd, to really negate any physical right clicks coming out from that Juggernaut. Because if you think about it, Vega, they really lack damage aside from that Jug. Or maybe the Scarith Mage as well, but unfortunately Seema not really being able to shine this game has been a very, very fragile Scarith Mage.
Oh, Cheshire Cat scouting now with his illusions. They're going to jump in with the lasso onto Ditchira, but there's a duel on Pashu in the back end with the Blade Mail up. Pashu will mostly kill himself, and Ditchira is going to get out alive with that Ball of Lightning. No one gets in 2-man RP. Jodam as well as the Tiny, but they're going to split the damage from the ultimate of the Scarith Mage, and they'll jump right back in with the Storm after having bottled up. Cheshire Cat's going to live and get 2 kills. Ditchira also took all of the focus from the rest of his team, and he's also going to get out of there alive. The focus fire from Vega, it simply wasn't there. Like, they have to just wait until this Mag has his RP and he actually uses it. But when you lose your Juggernaut first thing without the ability to really help him out at all, what are you going to do from that point? Like, that's most of your damage output, and your Mystic Flare is only level 1, split between 2, suddenly becomes a pretty mediocre nuke. So it's Power Rangers once again with a victory. They're just getting more and more ahead in this game, where they could be behind right now and still be in a decent position.
Yeah, Mike, does that Tiny even look like he had a very rough early game? I don't think so. He's sitting on an Aghanim 20 minutes. It's a decent timing.
That's pretty good. I mean, it's not the best, obviously, but I think usually it's like 17 minutes. We're not that far off of that. Seems like he had a pretty reasonable mid lane game.
Yeah, so it's really what he needed. All of a sudden, the Tiny's becoming really relevant, and actually Pashu popped his Mask of Madness, just went to farm the creep wave. Would have been a little scary if actually Ditchira was nearby with the Storm Through it to zip in, have the Tiny just follow up with the combo, but I think for the moment, we're just going to have Pashu focus on farming. He is definitely behind in terms of items. He really needs to pick it up, but it's been a very hard game. He's been the primary focus of Cheshire Cat for the majority of these engagements because they know that this Juggernaut is their only hope for the late game. Nothing else on Vega aside from maybe the Mag being a half a core maybe in that very late game, because Mags never normally build damage. You normally want to go for those utility items, go for the refresh or for the double RPs, grab the BKB so you don't get locked down. Just your Mags, they're not for damage in the late game. He's there for utility, but when you lack damage, they might have to transition no one into a carry, so maybe he has to actually start building some damage items. But for the moment, just going to be Arcane Boots, 4-Staff, and Blink Dagger. We'll see if they have to transition this Mag, because I feel like they really need to step one of these heroes into a damaging role aside from that Jug. Because Jug, he needs help.
Mag is the only hero that actually can do it, and what he does, it's, blinking up on top. Pashibashu is going to once again kill himself, and the relocation is here, so the two supports are not safe either. It's an instant double kill. RP onto a whole bunch, but where's the follow-up after? Io's going to die. Cheshire Cat is going to man-fight it out with no one. Heal on himself. He's sitting in the Firefly. Shockwave will kill him off eventually. Tiny going to rejoin this fight straight into a lasso. Not really sure what the plan was there. Is he going to get the toss off? That's not going to be either. Avalanche. One more hit. Not going to happen. 15 HP for the Mag. Dragon Slave is also going to whiff from J4. That looked like it was going to connect, but it was just off. And finally, Vega don't get absolutely wiped, but it still was a 3 for 3. They're going to get away with a lot of gold on that Magnus. But, yeah, it's a victory for them. Might not be a victory enough just because Ditchira, he's still on the bottom lane. He was pushing the entire time. So Power Rangers, definitely the roughest fight that they've taken thus far in this game, but still not too bad. Ditchira is going to run to Pashibashu down towards bottom, and Pashi can't really be too safe down here. He has his two supports here, but if he was just by himself, it's not going to be too hard for Ditchira to get that kill.
Yeah, my god, no one. He was probably a pixel from being hit by that Dragon Slave. I was literally watching with my mouth open. I was thinking, oh my god, what's actually going on? But Vega Squadron could not have asked for anything better. They got a massive kill streak off the Legion Commander. They even get an extra little killing spree from the Tiny. So all of a sudden, Mag has a lot of gold. He's going straight for a BKB. So no damage item for him. He still wants to go for utility. He needs to survive, which is probably the only reason why he's really building up that BKB. Because burst damage, still a galore on the side of Power Rangers. Oh my god, Pashibashu. What can he do? I can't even say what Pashibashu can really do. He's really struggling, but he's still farming very well considering how badly he's been ganked this game. He's been shot down 7 times this game. And he had a decent start during the early game, so Cheshire Cat, I want to give props to him for actually focusing down the jug. He's been doing the correct play for the whole game. Yeah,
the more damage Juggernaut has, the more damage he's going to be taking when you pop that Blade Mail, which has been doing some serious work. They're going to grab Roshan now. It's very easily done with the heals from Legion Commander. Plus, with that Halberd, she's actually pretty darn tanky. If Legion Commander, I mean, at this point, the Halberd is mostly just for the evasion more than anything else. Like, if she keeps jumping in towards the Juggernaut, you don't really have anyone to disarm, and you want him to be hitting you because you have that Blade Mail, so there's no one else that you really care that's right-clicking you. Like, Mag does okay damage, or Magnus does okay damage, but it's really not in his right clicks that's really threatening. So it's just Legion Commander who's really, really difficult to bring down. They need Vega to Mystic Flare her, and Mystic Flare her without having to worry about that Blade Mail. So you gotta wait and let Cheshire Cat do his thing for 4.5 seconds.
Yeah, well, if you think about it, you don't really just want the Halberd for the evasion. When the game goes late and if Jug actually does become relevant, then you can always fall back to the disarm. So it's not a bad item in the least. It's still going to have its utility during that late game, but would you actually consider changing this into a DPS item as the game goes later? Just because, yeah, I suppose you have a Tiny, but I think there might be points where you still want to have some damage on Cheshire Cat so that he can still be relevant during the late game, because he's got for a lot of utility as well. He's got a Blink Dagger, he's got Blade Mail, he's got Halberd, and his HP, it's not going to be that big for forever if you think about it. HP in Dota, as the game goes on, as more heroes get more and more damage, HP becomes almost a non-factor. It's more of a, can you survive through the onslaught, through movement, as well as probably some damage negated through your teammates. So, would you ever think about it?
I would say on any other hero except for Legion Commander, I would think about replacing it. But because Legion Commander has the dual victory damage, like, she could afford to have, let's say, damage light items in her inventory and still be a relevant damage dealer. So, oh, wait, they're going to chase forward for no one. Blink out for the Mag. Looks like he's going to be fine. But, yeah, because Legion Commander has that natural scaling, that natural, let's say, amplification for the late game, Heaven's Halberd is always going to be more relevant. Whereas for, you know, other heroes, you may or may not want to swap that out for something a little bit more hard-hitting. Legion Commander's already going to be hard-hitting, and she's going to run into Pashibashu again. Oh no, Juggernaut. You better prep your spin, man. Even though you do have Vengeful Spirit right around the corner, I don't even know if that swap's going to be enough. Cheshire Cat's going to fall back for now because he doesn't know who else is behind that Juggernaut. But while everyone on Vega, they're just running around getting marginal amounts of farm in this Juggernaut, it's the Tiny to grab his Yasha. Has 2,100 gold in addition to that. And this Tiny, well, he had a really bad start, but with a couple minutes of free farm, he's very comfortably sitting in 3rd place in the net worth, and not too far behind the enemy Mag.
Yeah, level-wise, we've got some two very, very under-leveled supports on the side of Vega. They're both level 8, whereas both supports on the side of Power Rangers, they're level 11. So already we've got level 2 ultimates being run on the supports on the Dire side, whereas Vega Squadron, their supports are really struggling. They have to give so much of this farm and EXP to Mag, No One, as well as Pashubashi that they're really left with nothing at this point. They can't really gank anybody because Power Rangers, they're going to have the Storm Spirit to zip in, they've got the relocate, so whenever they try and go for these ganks, it's going to be a very risky task really because they put themselves in danger and also whatever core they have with them to try and really throw out some of the damage. So these supports are really struggling. They need to get either kills or just to survive through the fights because a lot of the times we've seen them just pop. These supports, they just do not survive through anything. They are literally walking little bits of rice paper.
And they're not going to be surviving if they can't get their farm. We see Seaman the Slayer with a 2 Null Talisman build. No, those are not for damage output, even though I guess it kind of helps those Arcane Bolts. It's mostly just so that he can get some additional bits of HP and live throughout that onslaught of AoE that Power Rangers are going to be bringing to the table. So if the Scythe Mage can survive that, man, he's going to be pretty happy. But Tiny, he's going to be concerned with survival as well. Omni Slash plus the Lasso plus a Mist with Mystic Flare. But they actually get him out. What? I didn't even see the IO come in.
Yeah,
Tiny popped the Manta, got down to the low ground, and got a little bit more space because of that. Okay, well, they're going to live with the Tiny. They wasted everything. They're going to get Jodam. I guess that's like your consolation prize, but man, how many ultimates do they have to use? How much damage do they have to pump into this Tiny to actually get a kill? They get a kill, but they lose top lane in the meantime. That was pretty darn bad for Vega. If that Mystic Flare was a little bit more on point, perhaps, that would have been a kill.
Yeah, that was so close to getting it. I was actually watching the Wisp in the back line. He really prepped himself. He actually walked backwards to make it look as if he was going to retreat, but then he popped the relocate and, well, that's pretty much how they got that Tiny out of there. So really great play actually coming out from Jodam with that relocate. They're not really going to grab anything though in the bottom tower. They're not going to grab the bottom tower. It's dropping low. It's not in deny range though, so it's always going to be available if Power Rangers wants to go for it. Ditya though is going to pop some remnants down just to get some vision. He wants to jump on somebody. It's going to be risky, but he is pretty tanky. BKB popped on Pashubashi, hits him twice, and he's just going to back off. He knows he can't really kill the Storm Spirit on his own.
Oh man, you spend 200 mana to get the first BKB usage out of the Juggernaut, who already is under farm. That's insane value from Ditya. He also knows that the Omni Slash is down. He's going to find Quay. Actually, big jump in. Someone force-staffed that Venge. Looks like that was the Magnus, so she got a little bit more distance. Ditya may be running a little bit low on mana, but he still has the Aegis. He's going to be fine. But now with BKB down on Juggernaut, they went in knowing that the Omni Slash was also down because it was just used towards that Tiny in the bottom river. And, well, it's a very, very small looking play from Ditya, but it has huge consequences. And now over towards mid, Yule Scepter onto the Mag. Mag himself, he's up in the air, he's going to go for J4, but that's not the right target because Mag needs more cover. RP might be there, and it will. Onto only the Tiny, however, Jodam being focused down by Seaman the Slayer. That's not quite going to be lethal in and of itself. He needs more help right now. He's going to find it with one more bolt, but it's not going to be a great trade for him. They do lose the Lina as well. J4 was picked off in the end, but it's still 2 more kills, 2 for 2 right now, and with Mag being down, that's the most net worth hero on Vega side being dead. And Storm Spirit, he still has half a mana pool. If anyone shows their face, I'm looking at you, Venge, then you gotta be a little bit careful. Ditya up on the high ground now. He's going to get some vision with that static remnant. Cheshire Cat also prepped and ready to jump in. Quay gets the swap back, but into a duel he goes and instantly brought down. Cheshire Cat gets now up to 84 damage. Omnislash is going to fly through. Not going to do enough to anyone. Not even close, in fact, as Juggernaut gets thrown into the air. Looks like Power Rangers have had enough. They're going to cleanly disengage. Happy with the fact that they now have 84 damage in the Legion and 11 Bloodstone charges on the Storm Spirit. A pretty successful series of events for Power Rangers.
Yeah, oh my goodness. Well, take into consideration though that Vega Squadron did not actually lose their T3 tower in the process. I would say that's pretty lucky, just losing your Vengeful Spirit and not losing your T3. In all honesty, that's probably the best thing you could really ask for. So T3 is going to survive for a little bit longer. Also keep in mind, now with the pickup on No One, oh my god, I'm sorry. With the pickup on No One, even if he had buyback or even if he respawned and Power Rangers was actually still whacking on that middle tower, he would have had no RP. That's the biggest spell on Vega that they have to really turn some of the fights around. So because no one threw the RP in the middle lane, it was very scary because it meant that they had no control even if the Mag come up afterwards. So it was a pretty big pickup for Power Rangers, but they're playing it safe. Because if you think about it, it's their game to lose, relocate in the middle lane though. They're going to jump right onto Quay. Quay forced off onto the high ground. He's still alive. There's a stun though, thrown out onto the Tiny. Jodam, he's still hanging around. He's going to be lassoed. There's going to be Mystic Flare thrown out. The Wisp is down. Tiny is isolated, going to be pushed up onto the high ground. That might be the first time we might see Tiny die in a really long time. It is. So we're going to get the first kill on Tiny in, well, I feel like 20 minutes, really. Tiny has not died for a very long time, thanks to that Jodam.
Yeah, something like that. Tiny's been living, and, well, he did buy up a plate mail before he did go down. That's the type of play that Power Rangers, they probably can make most of the time. If you just catch vision, you're just going to relocate and 100-0 someone with that avalanche toss, and up against a level 9 hero, yeah, it's still going to be 100-0 with one more tree swing. That'll definitely be a kill. But it's not really a play that Power Rangers need to be making. Like, in the meantime, Ditchura as well as Tetracat, they were just farming up the enemy jungle. And Power Rangers perhaps getting a little bit greedy and really forgetting what sort of position they are in with their draft. They're not really the ones that have to be on the aggressive. They can sit back on their lead and make it a greater and greater lead as time progresses. Jump in for kills when you have proper backup with Tetracat, especially to get that extra damage. But outside of that, that play was completely optional for Power Rangers, and, well, I'm pretty sure they're not going to be making it again. And until they might make it again over towards mid, Ditchura, Tetracat, they're itching for some action. They're going to jump right into Mag, but he will dodge that hit. He pops the BKB, and now it's a clear path for Tetracat to jump in towards Seema. That would have been a 3-hit kill. Here comes the IO Tiny combo. Storm Spirit going to jump forward for someone else. Can't find anyone. They're going to catch eyes on Mag. Storm Spirit just doesn't have enough mana, though, to catch up successfully. And now Mag, he's probably going to have to Firefly and hope that they don't catch up to him. Overwhelming odds going to tag him. Avalanche going to whiff, however. It's just going to be one kill for Power Rangers, but it's a dual victory, as Tetracat now gets plus 102 every hit.
Oh my goodness. That was very, very close. At least Vega Squadron only lost their Scarith Mage. It could have been a lot worse in all honesty, but they just lose the support up top, though. We've got Pashi Bashi's by himself. He's running very quickly, but there's a zip forward by Ditchura. Going to slow him down. There's a spin, though, but they do have Cheshire Cat waiting in the back lines. He's got the duel coming, a cooldown in about 4 seconds. Will it actually be there in time? Ooh. There's a toss, and that's not going to be the kill onto Pashi Bashi. He's going to go home nice and safe.
Toss RNG, not really favoring the Tiny player in that situation. You could toss him out of that, and then you're going to get the kill definitely with that dual damage. You have enough lockdown, but Juggernaut, he waited until he had his creep wave there, and that's the only way he actually survives, if he gets lucky on that RNG roll. If Power Rangers had a little bit more burst, if they used overwhelming odds and then tried to clear out the creep wave to get that toss, I think they probably could have gotten that kill, but it's just so hard to think of that play when you're actually in that situation. That's fine though, Juggernaut is going to survive. He's still not farming the greatest, although he's picking up a little bit with this Mask of Madness and Empower. He just doesn't have what it takes to man-fight the Legion nor the Tiny, especially if one of those heroes should grab this Aegis. Ditchura, he's going to put himself in a pretty bad position. Pashibashu's going to see him, but Ditchura has a Lincoln Sphere, and Mag does not quite know about it. It's still on him, actually, and they're going to throw the Mag up into the air, pull him back in, swapped out for Quay, though. They're going to jump in on Pashibashu. RP is there, but it's not going to save the Juggernaut. Tetracat taking a hell of a lot of damage, but with Jodam on the top side, he's healing him up with that bottle, and Tetracat still driving through it, even getting hit with the lasso. Ditchura now wailing on Mag. They'll bring down the Tiny and the Legion Commander eventually, as Vega take a 2 for 2. Can they make it any better, though? Ditchura kind of low on mana. He's going to chase forward for Seema, though. The softest target, you might as well go for him. It's a wicked 6 streak for Ditchura. Now he sees Mag and Mag blink over the high ground, and they will get out alive. All things considered for Vega, that was a pretty decent fight, but still, can they contest Roshan right now? I'm not sure they can. It's going to be slower for Power Rangers for sure, but Vega, they have to go back and heal. And man, no one on his Mag has delivered time and time again, but it just seems like his team doesn't have enough damage output to actually back that up.
Yeah, they're going to actually give Roshan away as well. No one, he's just gone to the top lane. He's going to continue on farming. He's pretty much put his eyes on this refresher roll, but his team really needs it. He just needs the extra duration in that stun to just keep Power Rangers in place. I really like how they've been keeping that Tiny and the Wisp down, but all of us, they still need to shut down Cheshire Cat and the Storm Spirit. He's now doubled the average death of Jug. Oh no, Pashibashi! He's died too many times for a Juggernaut, it seems.
Someone's got to make the stats. He's paving a new way for Juggernauts in the future. 1-8-8. That's not exactly a great score on anyone. Maybe for like a Vengeful Spirit you'd be happy with that, but I don't even know if that would be the case. So 22-27 now, and Storm Spirit packing that Aegis is going to go as deep as possible in every single one of those fights. And not only that, he's not going to have any focus from the IO player, so the IO can focus all of his efforts on helping out the other allies instead of that Storm Spirit. Cheshire Cat towards top lane to get the duel onto Mag. Swap out though is going to slow this down. Will it stop it? Cheshire Cat most likely will not win the duel, but he probably will get the kill regardless. He will with the Blade Mail and the Firefly quickly, and is going to get bashed down, as is no one. Posh is chasing forward because he wants something. With the Ul Scepter, he's not going to get anything. He's going to try to spin out, but Tiny's waiting there with the toss. Is Pashibashi going to get lucky with this RNG roll once again? Get into the middle of the creep wave? No, he's just going to BKB and try to run through all of it, but Ditchy-Ra's right on your tail. Omnislash is there, but with all these heroes grouped up with the Tiny Illusions as well, suddenly the Omnislash runs out and he's just dead. It's a 5-0 in favor of Power Rangers. Cheshire Cat so damn tanky, 2300 HP, Lincoln Sphere, and Halberd Evasion doing work there. And Power Rangers once again win a fight, this time off of their mobility, and take a 3200 gold exchange off of that, or 5000 gold exchange off of that.
Yeah, I kind of felt like Pashy there was a little hopeful and hoping to try and grab a kill at least before he went down, but Mantis Illusions, they just pretty much provided the extra targets of Power Rangers to not really lose anybody, so unfortunately Vega, very, very minimal gains. They pretty much got nothing out of that as well, and actually zip forward. They're going to go right onto Seema. Poor Scarith Mage, already brought down. He just came back up, so he's back in the fountain as well. We've got 2 up for Vega. They're going to have the Magnus coming up online very soon, but they're still going to be missing out on Pashibashi, their main DPS, so they can't really jump into Power Rangers because they have their full lineup, and they're all very healthy, but actually, never mind, they have different plans. Mag going to try and go for the pull into the Tiny. It was purged off, though. Mantis Style has been deployed, and that's going to send Vega's Squadron back cowering into their base. They need to regen because their bottom lane is going to be under siege in a moment. Tiny, he's just going to ignore the tower at this point, just going to start whacking onto it. He's going to be hitting very fast as well with the buff coming out from Cheshire Cat. Those creeps as well getting decimated. The pull, it's going to be thrown onto no one. They're going to focus him down. Great play by Power Ranger to actually get rid of the Magnus. He's the main problem on the side of Vega, so without that Magnus, that's going to be a lot of the control gone, but never mind. He's actually brought back, though, so they're going to lose the Wisp very quickly. That's not the Wisp, that's the Storm Spirit, but he had the Aegis anyway, so it didn't really matter. And actually, that's a dieback coming out from no one. So Magnus, he's going to be completely down. GG call has been called out by Vega. They know they cannot combat this draft from Power Rangers. My goodness, great plays coming out from our Dire side. They played incredibly well. Oh my goodness, poor Pashibashi. Very, very rough game for Juggernaut.
Seriously stepped up his game. Ditchy-Ra as well. Like, no one's mag was amazing, and I think in a different shell, in a different draft, that would have been enough to win them the game, but that's it. Like, they just fall short in the damage department. They can't get their farm, at least not comparable to that of Power Rangers, and with such a late game draft, there was no chance that Vega would recover from that. So in 37 minutes, use dual 9 for, okay, that's, I wonder how many times he used it this time. I have no idea. Probably more than that, I want to say, but either way, 37 minutes in and we're down game 1. Power Rangers going to claim it. This is a best of 3, guys, so wait until game 2, which is going to be coming up in just a little bit, and we'll see how this match is going to progress. I'm Mikelorus. I've been joined by Danelie. Big thanks to Petty on the stats, and we'll all be back for game 2.